Oh, this coffee's good. Where did it come from? Yeah, that is true. Hey, sir, where did coffees originally come from? Alright, sir, here's your venti large. Wow, thanks. And now for your education.
Before Starbucks baristas existed, there was nothing. And before there was nothing, there were monasteries. Here's your latte. Well, actually, there's more story to that, but it all started around...
A man in Ethiopia named Kaldi, who saw his herd of goats acting strange and energetic. Even at nighttime, he saw them refuse to sleep and still danced around. Now Kaldi thought they were being possessed until he saw one of them eat a strange berry. So, out of curiosity, he ate one. Which is very brave of him though. That's like going to Skid Row and seeing Flint zombies. You saw them use something and just decide to use it on yourself. It's a very brave move, Kaldi. Moving on. After eating one, he felt accelerated. So accelerated that he danced with the goats. Thrilled with his own discovery, he went to a monastery to show off to the monks what he found. The monks, seeing what it had done to the goats and people, condemned the berries. As they see it as a sort of devil's work, they threw it onto the fire. Few minutes later, they smelled something aromatic in the flames. It is the scent of the coffee being brewed. The monks, wanting to preserve the delicate scent, poured water onto the flames and proceed to drink it. That's probably something you shouldn't do when you suspect it's the devil's work. But, go on. After drinking it, why would you drink that? They felt a sense of peace, warmth, and calming sensation. The effect was so powerful that they were able to pray for prolonged periods of time. The monks proceeded to share this with the other monasteries, and from there, grew the influence of coffee around the Islamic world. This is not the real story of the coffee. It's just the folklore from 7th century. Here's the real one though. Around late 14th century, wild coffee seeds, yes, seeds, they're not beans. Classification gets mixed up botanically speaking, was discovered around Ethiopia by curious sheep hoarders. They used it as a recreational snack just by chewing it or by boiling it on water. After some trading with their neighbors around 15th century, Yemenis, or whichever they're called, started the first roasting and brewing of the seeds. Lucky for the coffee, this was around the time of the golden age of Islam, further intensifying its popularity. It became a staple drink in the Islamic culture as it helped Muslims pray for prolonged periods of time. It spread throughout Middle East until it found its way to Italy. Now obviously, Europeans and Muslims tend to not get along, so pushback is expected. Around 16th and 17th century, there have been huge pushback against coffee. Lords, kings, and popes declared it as a devil's work. Rumors spreading of coffee encouraging people to gossip and commit sedition. And on England, women petitioned against coffee, claiming their men turn into beta males, making them impotent and such. Seems like a huge claim, and this is around the time women are burnt on stakes for having an opinion, or just being smart in general. Also, looking further into this, it was mostly men who made up the petition anyway, possibly under government or alcohol breweries. And from then on, alcohol got a new competition. Major coffee establishments popped up everywhere across major cities on Europe. Taverns slowly got replaced by coffee brewery shops. In fact, coffee got so substantial and influential that it created these so-called penny universities, where people can get big brain ideas from scholars and nerds who debate on politics, science, and philosophy, all for the price of a penny a cup. Hence why most royalties and alcohol breweries despise it. It created a certain type of people that oppressive governments feared. The somewhat smarter folk. Oh, also as a side note, in Sweden, King Gustav III was so convinced that it was evil that he banned it for being dangerous and socially disruptive. He was so adamant in proving his right that he forced twin prisoners into drinking multiple cups a day. One twin drinks the tea and the other twin drinks the coffee, though the doctors overseeing the twin died. This was before even one of the twins fall. Oh yeah, and the king got assassinated, so he never get to see the experiment finish. The tea-drinking twin falls first before the coffee drinker, and the coffee-drinking twin gets to live much, much longer. Oh, and don't worry about the king too much. He's kind of a jerk, really. He keeps waging wars and very oppressive towards his own people, so you know what's coming for him. Alright, I'm getting sidetracked. What was it? Ah, yes, coffee. It wasn't until Pope Clement stepped in, curious about the chaos of the coffee controversy, he decided to taste the coffee himself. He allegedly took one sip and basically said,
Damn! That shit good!
And later, he promptly baptized it, declaring it as acceptable for all Christians. And from there, Europe slowly stopped treating coffee like it's some kind of demonic heresy. Also, side note, and ironically, it's somewhat responsible for saving tons of Europeans from dying. Coffee arrived at Europe at just the perfect time, though not during the Black Death itself, but centuries after it. It was around the time Europeans were still traumatized by the plagues and suspicious of everything they eat and consume. Back then, people drank alcohol almost daily, not because they loved it, but because they had no choice. They have a very scarce amount of options on what to drink during that time. Water is often unsafe, and some drinks are just too expensive for them or not maintainable. Alcohol was medieval Europe's life support system. It's somewhat safer to drink than water coming from their wells, but it also kept most of their society being permanently half drunk, so either or. So the arrival of coffee is pretty much what they needed. To make coffee, you would have to boil water, which in turn killed all of the pathogens in the water, making it relatively safer to drink. Wait a minute, why can't they just normally boil water and drink that? Well, you know, medieval Europe, stupid and stuff. Well, they don't know what bacteria is during this time, so they just assume that it's all just witchcraft and such. Also, coffee did the exact opposite of what alcohol does. Instead of making them drowsy and such, it just made them more energetic. Some historians actually theorized that coffee was the reason Europeans innovated so well. And from then, Europeans took over the coffee industry. Europeans took coffee everywhere they went, creating coffee plantations wherever they go, destroying ecosystems just for another cup of joe. But that's another story for another time. And that is the somewhat accurate, abridged history of coffee. Now, if you excuse me, I'm gonna go get more breast milk. Excuse me?